Coming up on the next episode. Good Tuesday evening to you all, YouTube. It is 6:45 now in the PM. I am here at the bench once more, and this is one of the radios that we looked at on the last video. I wanted to see basically if it worked, number one, and it does. You can hear it playing. That's the local station. The problem is it's up all the way. Now, generally, I like to say generally because there are times when it doesn't amount to that, but so let me turn that down a little bit. As you can hear, that's all the way up. Not very loud. But generally, like I started to say, was the problem with these when they get like that are the coupling capacitors and or other capacitors, electrolytic capacitors inside the radio. And I think what we're going to do is basically use this as our baseline and kind of listen to that. And then we'll replace the caps in it and compare and see what the improvement is, if there is any. So there you go, there's that. Let me go ahead and take the back off, and this is an 8 transistor radio. Looks like a North American solid state deluxe. That's what it's called. I kind of just decided to go through some of these that have complete cases. Now this one, it has a chip out of it there. I think that's really the only bad spot in it, it looks like. So, you know, I'm not saying that can't be fixed, but, you know, I don't know that they even want to. It adds character. You know how it is. So let me go ahead and take this apart and get the caps changed, and then we'll go from there. Let's see how it works. Alright, well, I thought I'd bring you back before we did anything, because I can only find one E-cap in here. Now, there's several disc caps. Now, those tend not to go bad. I'm not saying they don't go bad ever. They do. But for the most part, no, they don't. So if this is a coupling cap, which it may be, this may be our whole problem. I don't know. We'll see. If I was Shango 066, I would take another cap and short it across it and see if it improves the audio. But I'm not, so I'll just replace it. I did a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 transistors are in there. Now, more than likely, there are probably, I'm going to say 4 in the, 3 or 4 in the audio. You have push-pull, probably. You have 2, you have an output transistor and an interstage type transformer that will split the signal for the push-pull, and so that's that. And then probably 2 of the transistors may be used for a detector. I don't know. That's a common thing in these Japanese radios. They wanted to get that transistor count up, and they did stuff like that. And so that's just a thought. They may not have. I don't know. Seems like all the screws are there. I see 3 of them. So this should be an easy job to get that out. And it's an axial lead, which is kind of odd. But again, you know, it could have been replaced. You never can tell. So let me get that out, and let's just see if it makes us any difference. So stay tuned. Okay, as I was taking the screws out, I just happened to notice this huge thing right here. Yeah, that is a capacitor. Don't know how I missed that, but I did. I don't know if it's just the angle it was at, I didn't see it or what, but yeah, okay, there's at least 2 in there now, so I'm pretty sure that's all of them, though. The rest of them look like resistors, other than the disc caps, the ceramic disc caps, I should say. And let's get this thing out of there and see what happens when we do that. Now, hopefully we can just turn it over like that. Got my screws out here, put them over out of the way. find out which one I've got to take out, and we'll go from there. Now I see these wires going across here. That's never a good sign. Because when I get in there with that soldering iron, I'm just liable to burn them up. You never can tell. So, alright, I'm going to turn you off and let me get in there to see with the magnification lamp and see what I'm looking at. Alright, let's start this over again. It is 10:39 p.m. on this Thursday evening. I am at the bench once more with the North American radio. This thing's been a booger. I'll tell you what, you guys saw in the previous clips that this radio was working. It had low volume. I'll grant you that. It did. It was not very loud, but it did work. I was pulling in the station. We were listening to, I think, a radio or a basketball game or something. Baseball game, maybe. Whatever. We were listening to something on the radio. Local station. So, as I said in my video then, I had the bright idea of changing out a couple capacitors. Here's one of them. This is a 50 microfarad, and it's listed on there. It's kind of hard for me to see like it is right now, but it does say 50 microfarad. So I put 47 back in there. When I got this trace here off with the solder wick, it lifted part of the trace off, and this was no longer a continuous trace through here. So I just made the, this is the plus side, by the way. I just made the lead a little bit longer and bent it over and made the trace continue that way. No problem, I thought. The minus is on this side. Again, no problem. The other one was the little axial lead. Had the actual lead on the, and I never can find that darn thing. I know it's here somewhere. But anyway, it was a coupling cap from the wiper, and I'll show you, wiper of the transistor, not that wire, but this one right here is the wiper, and it goes over to here to this pad right here. Well, that's fine. Now, at that time, all this was a big blob of solder, just kind of one big blob, and I thought, well, that's not right. And in fact, I've gotten I don't know how many different big blobs of solder off this thing. And so I took the solder wick and carefully, removed all the solder, and that's what was left. You got a pad here, you got a pad here, you got pads here. This one over here happens to be the base of the driver transistor. And there was a hole here for a lead. So, there's no connection between here and there. And I figured, well, there has to be to get from the coupling cap over to the base of the transistor. And so I ended up putting in a lead. Let me show you if I can. There you can see right there, I think. Basically just goes over here to this base of the transistor. And anyway, long story short, I got this all working. I took my little frequency function generator and put in a signal in here, and I had it working right from this point right here. This is the feed from the radio into the volume control. It goes right there, and it was working fine from here through the speaker, and the volume control would make it go up and down, no problem. I don't know that it still was very loud, but it was at least working again after my first initial problem that I couldn't get it working. But anyway, I put in a 10. I couldn't tell what the value of the axial lead coupling cap was, so I figured 10 should be okay. And, I think it should have been. And I put that in there, and that's what's in there. So, basically, again, I can feed a signal in here, and it comes out the speaker. Not a problem. Now, the problem is the radio does not work. And I took my trusty BDST signal tracer and hooked it up to the same point as this to see if there was any radio signals coming out, and there was none. Nothing. Zip. Nada. So that is where I'm at right now. Having just a little bit of a problem. I'm sure it has something to do with me cleaning off all the solder. There was a big blob down here. This was all one big blob. I cleaned all that out. Got that working as it should, I think. I got my negative lead from the battery there. Positive lead comes up through here, goes up here. By the way, you have to use the positive as the ground on this. That's the way it's set up. But anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. I can't get the radio to work anymore. Like I said, the audio amplifier is working now. It wasn't working after I initially put the new caps in. So again, it's something to do with what all this blob of solder they keep putting in, or they kept putting in, and different places, and everywhere you look, there's a big blob of solder. And so anyway, that's where I'm at with this, and I just want to let you know that I do have the audio portion of it working somewhat. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it does work again. And like I said, you feed a signal in here, and it goes through the volume control, through the wiper, turn it up and down, and it will vary the sound coming out the speaker. So that part is working. Just now, all I have to do is figure out what happened to the radio. I have not messed with anything on this radio other than what's over on this side, because like I said, that's all audio over here. Radio ends right here. This is the end of the radio portion right here. And I haven't touched any of this, and none of this has been, only thing that I have done as far as maybe the radio might be concerned is this cap here, which goes across the battery or whatever, the B+, and that's been changed. But I tried it, I put it in there, touched it with the audio thing playing just to make sure, and it was actually louder with the cap in there. So I figured that was not doing any harm. So I went ahead and put that back in. So this thing's been a bugger, I'll tell you, it has been. But anyway, it is what it is. So, I was kind of looking forward to getting the little bastard radio. That has been shipped, by the way, and I don't know if Tuesday, I believe, is the day it says it will be here. But I thought, well, it'd be fun to play with until I started messing with this. And again, you would think a little radio like this would be fairly easily conquered, as far as getting it working again. And especially since it worked when I started. That's the bad part, You're supposed to fix radios, not make them not work. So anyway, again, I've obviously removed the wrong solder blob. Darn me, I shouldn't have done that. But again, it is what it is. It needs to be fixed correctly. You just don't go, and I'm sure I know why this part worked, because it was making connection, from here to the driver transistor. And of course it was taking a lot of other stuff in at the same time. These are a couple of resistors here, and that was probably the reason for the low audio. So that coupling cap may have just been fine. I don't know. But like I said, it just, like I say, now it works. It seems to work correctly. Like I said, you can vary the volume and stuff like that, but you just can't get no radio out of it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So I'm going to cut this off here. Like I say, it's going on 11 o'clock. I usually go to bed about this time, and I think that's probably what I'll do. And you guys have a pleasant evening, and I may come back in the morning with this. I don't know. We'll see. That's going to do me. Like I say, you guys have a pleasant evening, and I may come back tomorrow. We'll see. If not, we'll talk to you later.